Hello, my beautiful challengers. How are you today? So, here we are. We're on day 4 already of our 5-day challenge. How's it feeling? I hope you're enjoying this exercise and I hope that you're making the time for yourself. I purposely have kept all of these videos short so that it didn't have to be onerous for you. I remembered I forgot to turn my sound off. Oh, no, I don't want my headphones silent. Oh, sorry about that. Anyway, I purposely tried to keep these short so that it wouldn't be another burden on you to get what you want, because we're all so darn busy these days, and really that's the whole point of this: is we're so busy and we get taken away from the things we really want to do because we get sucked into that. So, we've already gone through the exercises of figuring out what really matters to us. We've gone through the exercise of visualizing what it would be like if we could do those things that matter. And then yesterday we spent some time really focusing on the things that are taking us away from those things that matter. Today what I want to do is spend a few minutes on developing a plan on how we're going to move forward and really swap those things out. So what I want to do is just talk a little bit about some of the things that have come up for us. Now I know some of you are watching and you're not entering your ideas, or maybe you're not watching yet at all and and you're going to catch these later. I certainly hope so. But I just want you to know I really appreciate those of you that have been interacting, because really that helps make it a more valuable experience for everyone when I kind of at least know the kinds of things you're struggling with. So I've heard things like, watching TV, playing games, just getting lost in social media, trying to make things perfect. Some of it's legitimate things, just doing work and being so busy that it's just hard to get anything else in. And truly, the reasons that we want to let go of some of those things is so that we can spend more time in the Word. We can spend more time with our families, our loved ones, develop those deeper relationships. And sometimes it's just a matter of wanting to be able to be healthier, which is really a worthy goal. So before we move on to creating that plan that we really need to have, I want you to acknowledge one factor here that's going to make all the difference for you. And that one factor is that you have to take responsibility. You have to acknowledge that you are 100% responsible for where you are today. You are making choices that got you to where you are today, and all of those choices are going to accumulate to where you're going to go tomorrow. So starting right now, you can decide, I'm going to do something different, and I'm going to acknowledge that I don't have to do anything. And that's some of the languaging, and I don't have time to get into all of that today, but that's some of the languaging that we need to have for ourselves is, I choose to do this. I'm doing this because I want to. If you're doing something because you have to, then we need to dig into that and figure out what's going on there, because we should only be doing things that bring us joy. Sometimes we don't have joy in the things we're doing because we're looking at them wrong, and that's another whole challenge for another whole day. But if you're ready to take responsibility, then let's create that plan. And what I want you to do is think about some things that you can do to ensure that you will have the time to do the things that matter. For example, I mentioned a few days ago that I can get sucked into social media, and or maybe it's watching TV or talking on the phone, whatever it is. What I'm going to commit to myself, and I have to admit that it's been worse this week because I've been in on social media checking to see if you guys are chattering back and forth and wanting to be responsive to that. And every time I do it though, I start looking at, whose birthday is it and what's going on. So I know how that happens. But my commitment to myself is to only allow myself to get on social media at certain times during the day. I get to pick what time of day that is. You get to pick what time of day it is for you. But the commitment that you need to make is decide how long you're going to be there. And that's totally up to you, whether you want to say it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, a half hour, 2 hours. It doesn't matter. You get to decide. It's your choice. But make that commitment to yourself, and then set an alarm or do whatever you have to do to make sure that when your time is up, you get out. Same thing that, like, I talked about, you could do that with watching TV. I'm going to watch this show and this show tonight because those are my favorites and I don't want to miss them. But then I'm going to turn the TV off and go do something else that I really want to do instead of just getting caught up into the next show and the next show. So I had mentioned a couple of days ago how I stopped watching the news years ago. And that has freed up a lot of time and a lot of mind space for stuff that I just don't need. It's not my problem. I don't need to deal with. But one of the things I noticed, even about just this week about myself, is I have in the last couple of weeks started watching the series Outlander on Netflix. And I really, really love that series. And so I've been binge watching. It's like whenever I have a free 15 minutes, even sometimes I'll just watch part of an episode. And I have to admit, it's a little graphic sometimes. But anyway, that's one of my faults, if you will. But anyway, one of the things I noticed was that I have a hard time shutting my mind off at night. Sleeping has been an issue, and I'm a lot better. But I've noticed this week that I'll wake up in the middle of the night thinking about that series and what's going on in there or whatever. And I was like, oh my goodness. So I am making a commitment to myself. This is my part of the challenge, is I'm not going to say I'm not going to watch the series because I love it. I'm not going to deprive myself of something that I really love. But I am going to commit to myself that I'm going to turn it off 2 hours before bedtime and do something that's healthier for my brain. So if my brain starts clicking away in the middle of the night, at least it's working on, a healthy thought from my devotion or my scripture or a good book that I'm reading or something like that. So think about how you could do something similar there. So what I'm going to ask you to do right now is think about, you've all written down the top 3 things that matter. You've written down the 3 things that you want to give up. I'm going to tell you right now, you can't do them all at once. You won't get it done. But what you can do is decide which one thing you're going to give up or reduce, or however you want to look at it. And then what one thing are you going to replace that with? So for example, if you're watching TV 3 hours a night, or if you're playing word games for an hour just mindlessly between when you get home from work and dinner, instead of doing that, don't do that, or reduce the amount of time, and then decide what one thing you want to do instead of that. So instead of watching an hour of TV, you do an hour of devotions, or instead of doing a word game for 20 minutes, you listen to a podcast for 20 minutes. Well, yeah, love plug for a podcast, not bad, huh? Anyway, just think about what you could do there. And I'm going to tell you right now that if this is a new habit for you, and anytime we create new habits, our brains resist that. They like to just keep doing what we do, and that's why we're here, right? Is because we've just been doing the same old thing and having a hard time changing it. So you will probably run into resistance with this, and your brain's gonna go, no, I don't want to make change. And if you run into that challenge, I invite you to just direct message me, and let's talk about it and see if we can't figure out what's going on with you there, and see if we can get you past that. I'd really love to be able to help you with that. So right now, what I want you to do is think about what you're going to cut back on, what you're going to change, and what you're going to add. It doesn't do any good to change one bad habit and then add another one that really isn't getting you to your goal or your vision for that life that you want. So make it a swap. And then what I want you to do is post what that's going to be on Facebook. And then one more action today. In addition to putting it on Facebook, I want you to write it on a sticky note or on your screensaver or whatever, but put it somewhere where you're going to see it often. Put it on your mirror. And just see it where you can look at it every once in a while throughout the day and remind you that this is what you're going to do. It's a small step, but it's the right step in the right direction. So that's your part of the challenge today. Just remember, as you're doing this, the whole point is to get you to the point where you are feeling happier and lighter and more joyful in your life. If you're changing one habit for another one and it's not bringing you joy, then it's not the right step. There's something off there. So we're working towards that. Remember that. So with that, I'm going to let you go for the day. Thanks again for your time. You don't know how much it means to me that you are here walking through this exercise with me. Don't forget to post and go have an amazing day and live your more. I love you guys. Thanks. Bye.